You ready to go raid the police? Because I sure am. Wait, hold on, there's just one thing we gotta do before that, and that's picking our last class from Qazplm, except this time we're actually sticking with Final Girl. The last two classes we unlock here are absurdly broken, but swapping a class takes about 12 seconds, so we're avoiding additional class swaps. Planemaster's a really broken support class, and a class I main casually when I got to this point. Root Burst is a weak attack with massive range. The potency is low, but it makes up for it with its range and knockback, though Bleed gets in the way of the run. Sweet Scent, meanwhile, is our first and only Charm skill. While Charm is nice to have and is better than Confusion, it doesn't get any use in the run. The only skill we'll be seeing is Purifying Petals. This is an AoE heal and cleanse that applies attack up to everyone it hits. Martial Artist, meanwhile, has some disgustingly good melee skills. Dragon Force Punch has the highest potency and has a 5 block knockback, though having a cooldown makes it less useful than Brutal Bash. Dragon Dance is a skill we'll be seeing the most. It attacks all nearby enemies and has really high potency for its range. While Ghastly Grasp can do more damage in many situations, there's some situations where you can hit more enemies with Dragon Dance than Ghastly Grasp. Last but not least, we have Dragon Reversal. This is basically an improved version of Dread Rush. It's almost as strong even without the DNA bonus. The only unfortunate thing is that it has a slow debuff which adds on to animation time, but the ability to attack from far away makes up for it. While both these classes are great, and at one point I brought both of them along, the newest iterations of the upcoming fights are just so fast now that it's hard to imagine them saving more time than a class swap takes. Before going to bed, we'll grab all the new items in our toy chest for a ton more scrap for crafting. Later, we'll swap out Supersonic Dash for Double Edge, Quantum Fist for Ghastly Grasp, Wonder Tweak for Call Girl, and Tupperware for Tool Shed. Call Girl and Mysterion are in the party because, as I mentioned before, they are our two best party members. Tool Shed is here because he's needed for the shove fight, and we're bringing him in now because party positioning and turn order works out better than we kept Tupperware instead. Now we finally get to go beat up some cops. Even though there's some fireworks we can blow up near the cops, we're going to engage them normally. This is the one situation in the game where we ignore hazards because blowing them up messes with the fights. In a fight, New Kid will move up and do a double Ghastly Grasp from this position. If I'd blown up the fireworks, 2 of the cops would have died, which leaves these gaps that mess with the Ghastly Grasp. This also puts the New Kid closer to the cops that appear on the next wave. Afterwards, we'll skip Toolshed's turn to force the cops to spawn. The cops have too much HP for us to take them both out in a time pause, so we're going to have Call Girl use Phone Destroyer on the right one. Mysterion will then use Dark Whisper so that they both have defense down inflicted, as well as splitting them up so that it's easier to punch them. Now we can time pause the first cop and defeat each of them in just 2 punches each. Right before the next fight, there's a recipe for the Tantalum Accelerator. This is a much stronger major artifact with higher might and critical damage, which we're crafting 2 of for another big boost in damage. In the next room, we'll find all the innocent black people who've been arrested. Totally not because of me or anything. Yeah, it was all the cops. And now I'm going to go beat up the cops because I'm a good person, not because I have a guilty conscience or anything. The new kid starts off with a double Soul Slash on the enemies on the right. We're using Soul Slash now because it's slightly stronger than Ghastly Grasp, and the extra knockback damage is enough to kill the cop in the back. The next enemy actually has a range attack, so we're going to time pause him and punch the nearest cop once, and the other Riot Shield cop 3 times. The Riot Shield cop will move 1 space, but he can't reach anyone. We'll have Call Girl use Phone Destroyer on the cop in the back so that he gets low enough, and then we're going to have Mysterion use Dread Rush to take out both cops. Next up we have Jared from Subway. This fight is very short, just like how Jared likes his kids. We're going to have the new kid move diagonally up so that he'll be right next to Jared for the time pause. After that, we'll have Mysterion move down into the conga line and use Dark Whisper to drag Jared over and inflict defense down. Jared has a random chance of using a microaggression here, which is unfortunately just pure time loss. As soon as he's about to take his turn, we'll time pause him and punch him 6 times to take him out before his aides can even join him. If you want to play safe, you'd have Call Girl use an extra Phone Destroyer to make this a 5 punch instead. Now we're going to swap out Ghastly Grasp and Soul Slash for Cerebral Blast and Fatal Trim in preparation for the upcoming fights. Plus we'll equip the Tachyon Matrix in the new artifact slot we unlocked. The next fight is the Elder God Shub, yeah, that name. We're not actually fighting the boss directly, so damage is irrelevant. We start off by spending 2 rounds to move all our party members into these 4 slots here and waiting for the timer to run out on Mysterion's turn. Unfortunately, there's no known way to make this faster, so we're just gonna chill here before the boss attacks. On the next phase, because we blocked off the top and bottom rows, these 2 enemies can move out of the middle rows. We'll have New Kid use Double Edge and a Fatal Trim on each of the rows of enemies in order to do a 2-space knockback on all the enemies, and then have Toolshed use Dual Slinger on the top row of enemies to knock them all into the danger zone, where the boss will proceed to eat them all and die. We used to have Root Burst here instead because that one has massive range and knocks back all enemies one space, but because it also attacks the eggs on the field, it wastes additional time from them exploding afterwards, so we save a good chunk of time on not having to swap in Plantmancer and also not destroying the eggs. Now it's time to go fight our friends, and Cartman. This is actually a strat I came up with from routing the no DLC category of this game. We want to go first in this fight because 3 enemies outspeed us with Psycho DNA equipped, and all of them are close enough to attack us. This initial starting position is also perfect because 3 enemies happen to be in range of Cerebral Blast, so we're going to take them out at the start with a double Cerebral Blast. After taking out an enemy, they join our side and get their turn right away, so now we'll have Mosquito and Human Kite attack the Coon to snap him out as well. Dr. Timothy now gets his turn, and because he charms the Coon who's going next, we're going to cancel this out and punch him 5 times. Unfortunately, there's no way to get defense down on him, so we're missing out, but that's fine. Our party members can hold their own. Thankfully, unlike in the last Freedom Palace fight, Dr. Timothy doesn't teleport after a time pause, so the Coon will attack next with his Coon Claws, followed by Call Girl, Selfie Stick Strike, and ending off with a Chaos Blast to finish the fight. After this fight, we learned that Dr. Timothy simply wanted to come up with a franchise plan where everyone gets equal treatment, so we officially merged together and become the Freedom Pals for good. The next day, we found our house trashed and covered in blood without our parents anywhere in sight. Also, there's an emergency at the Freedom Palace, so we'll head there and find out that someone, totally Cartman, trashed Dr. Timothy's plans. So now we're out to go get him. Plus, Dr. Timothy unlocked our full potential by giving us access to every class. Here we'll swap out Cerebral Blast and Fatal Trim for Dragon Dance and Dragon Reversal for the next 2 fights. Also, before going inside the base, we got our second summon in the game, which is Classy. Summons in this game can do a lot of damage, but they are obscenely slow. They take around 25 seconds each, and because they scale off hero rank, they don't really do enough damage in the run to justify using them for the most part. In fact, we'll only be seeing Classy used once in the entire run. For this section, we're forced to walk all around town to solve Mitch Connor's riddles without fast travel, so we'll make our first stop at Tweak's Coffee and be met with the leader of the town's cliques. For some reason in this fight, even though we have turn disadvantage, the new kid is unaffected, so he still gets initiative here, but luckily for us, this means that enemies will be in a good position for us. We're having the new kid move next to the crab person who is fighting us for some reason, even though we've never actually gone to do Call Girl side quest in the D-Mobile, and use a single Dragon Dance on the 2 enemies. The ninja will attack Call Girl and New Kid, followed by the 6th Raider and Redneck repositioning themselves, giving us a good setup for a spiral power from Toolshed. Call Girl will also move down and use her Selfie Stick Strike on the ninja to get him low enough for us to kill him in time pause. The Raisins Girl will try to charm Mysterion, which will stop with a time pause and then take out the crab person and the ninja with 4 punches total. We'll have Mysterion use Dread Rush on the 6th Raider and the Redneck to get them low enough for the new kid to come up and kill all 3 of them with a double Dragon Dance. We actually unlocked another artifact slot back at the Kun and Friends fight, but the stats don't make a difference on this fight. So I waited until now so I can equip both the Necronomicon as well as Psycho DNA again. We want to delay our turn for the many-ass cats fight coming up soon, so this is the last chance we get without having to get into combat in extra time. Continuing on, we're going to take a selfie with Daniel and Jimbo's gun shop as well as Natalie in the park. Then we'll fast travel to school and go inside the community center where we can finally beat the shit out of Cartman. Cartman likes to cheat, so we're going to take him out before he even gets a chance. We'll start off with a Dragon Reversal to have the new kid reach Cartman without even having to walk up to him, as well as inflict defense down. Now we'll have Mysterion use Dark Whisper to deal some more damage while keeping the defense down active. Once Cartman takes his turn, we're going to punch him 5 times and end the fight. While there's other ways to do this fight, this is the best setup I found that doesn't use Double Edge. The slow animation sucks, but it's still faster than the next best thing, which is a Double Edge into a single Brutal Bash. Now we get to have fun torturing Cartman with our farts. It's unknown currently whether there's an optimal set of items to pick, so we just go with the defaults. The dialogue does change slightly, but it's unknown if it affects timing. He'll finally cave in and tell us to go to Mephisto's lab, which is where we'll learn how to change between night and day by farting into a fan, which causes the refrigerants in a coolant to do some stuff, and just ask Morgan Freeman, he knows his stuff better than me. Now it's time to go beat up some mutant 4-ass cats. Normally when you do this fight, a bunch of cats will appear over the course of the fight as you continue to take out more cats, but you can just finish it in one wave by killing everything in the same turn. The first cat in this fight will take its turn and attack Call Girl. The next cat will just move, but we actually want it to stay still, so we'll time pause it and use this time to punch the 2 vats of acid, as well as punch the cat in the top left twice. With this, we can now go in with the new kit and use 1 Dragon Dance on the 2 cats in the middle columns, and then another on the 2 cats at the furthest column, ending it on just the first wave. In one of the upcoming rooms, we'd normally get this cutscene with Mephisto and Super Craig, but having Toolshed glitched into the world cuts out this cutscene altogether, saving about 10 seconds. The cats were the least of our worries because they have something much worse here. Genetically modified 6th graders. Those gluten-free, non-GMO vegan 6th graders were bad enough, but now we've got genetically modified ones with 4 whole asses. That's 2 more asses than I have. For the upcoming fight, we're swapping out Dragon Reversal for Soul Slash because of the machines at the end of the stage. For some reason, you can't actually get turn advantage or disadvantage in this fight, so no matter what, you just get a normal turn order. This is also another fight that changes because of playing too long, so it looks slightly different in practice, but in the run, a bunch of the enemies for some reason just refuse to attack anyone. After the pigs all move into positions, we'll have Toolshed use Spiral Power to get rid of a pig and deal damage to one of the gorillas. Next, it's a new kid's turn, and he'll use 2 Soul Slashes on the 6th grader to the left. The knockback from Soul Slash will damage the machines behind them, causing all 3 of them to get shocked. By now, debuffs are pretty decent, but not enough to waste a turn solely on a debuffing move. But enough that the extra debuffs from a hazard like the machines are worth it. Once the blue shirted 6th grader takes his turn, we're going to time pause and punch the top gorilla twice and the bottom one 3 times. This is enough for the top gorilla to die from shock damage and plus the other 2 low enough to die from a classic summon, so we'll have Call Girl move to the left and do just that. Classic summon seems to be bugged because it shows that she should hit all enemies in 3 lanes, but she's limited to 4 targets for some reason, which leaves 1 pig alive next to this remaining gorilla. We also move Call Girl to the left because for some reason standing below the pig on the right causes Classy to hit it instead, which inflicts Gross Out on Call Girl, adding on extra animation time. We'll now have Mysterion come up and use Dread Rush to attack the gorilla and take out the pig, which causes a chain reaction where the pig explodes and kills the 6th grader for us. This is the one fight in the run that for some reason I just can't wrap my mind around. I came up with a set of actions through brute force and I still haven't found a faster way of doing this, but I'm convinced there has to be a better way of doing it. The fact that fight changes in a run really doesn't make it easy to test strats though. Now that we've collected more gear from defeating so many enemies, it's finally time to equip some of it. We're going to replace a Crystal Capacitor and a Hidden Blade with a Hand of Deception and a Sphincter Plex that we got. Also, we're going to swap Toolshed out for Fast Pass and Call Girl for Captain Diabetes. Fast Pass was originally routed in because he cuts out 1 action on a Woodland Critters fight in the future, but he also helps out on the 2 upcoming fights. Captain Diabetes is here because he fulfills the requirements for the strat I came up with. I want someone with one of those charge skills that shoves enemies back in this slot here, but Call Girl messes with it because of the way party positions work. Allies in most fights are plopped down with a hierarchy based heavily on HP, so Call Girl outranks too many characters and Captain Diabetes happens to be next to her in the character menu, so I swap her out for him instead. The next fight has 3 waves of enemies and there's also a timer telling us how long there is before the grates open up to attack everyone on the red spaces, but no worries, we'll finish this fight before we ever see it. Because we have turn advantage, the new kid will get his turn first. We'll have him get extra movement with double edge and do a single dragon dance on the 2 top enemies, then we'll do another dragon dance on the bottom 2 to split up the damage. We then have Fast Pass move down and take out the enemy on the bottom with Blindside while Captain Diabetes takes out the top one with Sugar Rush. When the next wave arrives, Mysterion will use Dark Whisper to drag the bottom enemy over and Fast Pass will kill him with a hidden run. New Kid will time pause the next enemy and take out both of them at the top. Normally the final wave would have this enemy placement, but to cut down on actions, I want to shove this badger on the top down so that all 4 enemies are within range of Dragon Dance. While I could technically shove this cat at the bottom up, I would need 3 whole characters blocking up the bottom to do so because of the way the game works. The game has a priority for where to place characters if his space is occupied. You can see it here with Morgan Freeman summoning his past self. He first tries to spawn his past self to the right of him. If that space is used up, he goes down next, then left, then up, and then finally upright, and I would assume he goes in a clockwork pattern after. That's why I wanted Captain Diabetes to use Sugar Rush so that the final wave looks like this instead, so that all I need is to do a double dragon dance to finish the fight.